Whoa. Don't need that. All right. It would appear as if everything's working. Let's get that chat going. Hello, Abby. As always, it's nice to see you in here. All right. Happy Monday. Hope you enjoyed the games yesterday. Look, being wrong, betting the Steelers and teasers and stuff like that, you know, you shake it off, you move forward. From watching that game, like what credit to Cleveland, obviously. Came out ready to play, made plays, took advantages of opportunities. Every time they felt the pressure late, they found a way to respond. But if you're a Pittsburgh fan, like how that team, it's not as if they look like they ran out of gas. Like that was kind of the excuse we were giving them the last month of the season. They look tired, they look worn down, they just need some rest. They just stunk. They make so many mistakes and they look like a team that doesn't even care. And I'm sure they care. I don't think they went into that game last night and just said, forget it, we don't care at all. But, oh my God, the snap over Roethlisberger's head, that happens. We saw something that happened like that to Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl when Denver got waxed by Seattle at the New Meadowlands in Jersey. Like that'll happen. A snap will be errant. But they're both running back for it. Running back, who is a Connor, like slides, but doesn't even get his hands on it. Roethlisberger doesn't want to dive for it. That's okay. He's old. He's a quarterback. They don't try to sweep it out of the end zone. They basically just give Cleveland the touchdown, and then they all look at each other. And then after that, they just come out and make mistake after mistake after mistake. Like that's supposed to be a first-class defense. They were awful. It's supposed to be a good offense. Terrible. Juju just flaps his gums at every turn and keeps getting popped for it. He dances on logos. They get beat. He runs his mouth about Cleveland. They get beat. Tomlin said afterwards that they died on the vine. Live wagering special. Yeah. Great call on that. Great call on that. That they died on the vine. What happened to that football team? It feels like there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about that kind of wrecked the locker room, and that somewhere down the line, we'll find out. Like a 30 for 30 situation. Like we'll find out what happened there. Because remember, these were the guys that made Antonio Brown look like, he's a normal guy. You heard about one or two issues. Then Brown left, and it's like, oh my God, this guy's kind of crazy. How did Pittsburgh cover that up for so many years? That's the takeaway there. Bears not doing anything against the Saints, not much there. Ravens-Titans was an awesome game. I was on the wrong end with a lot of that, but that, it'll happen. That was an awesome football game. Congratulations to the Ravens. That defensive effort was some of the best we've seen. So there we go. All right. Watching this, doing homework. Yeah. So basically the way things are going, bet the opposite of everything I'm about to say, because the cold streak continues. 2-6-1 yesterday. The two winners, the Chuck Clark under tackles prop, that hit. Getting as random as possible. And Saints Bears, that under hit. That was nice to have something like that because that was never in doubt. The losers, the Bills Steelers teaser, the Pittsburgh in general -6, and the Steelers teaser I was going to do with Alabama tonight. Those were all losers. Baltimore in the first quarter lost. They played great outside of the first quarter. So be it. Lamar Jackson over passing attempts, missed by like 2. Tennessee couldn't push him at the end. And Tannehill overs passing yards, which looked really good. And then they completely got shut down. All credit to Baltimore. So 2-6-1, 40 games under right now, 155, 195-3. Desperation time is here. Should probably be thinking about betting the other way on everything you're about to hear tonight, which would then lead to me being undefeated tonight, bragging during the next stream. Everyone gets excited, jumps back on. Go 1 for 5. One of those seasons. Next stream is going to be, I'm not positive yet. I actually, ridiculously enough, I think I have to check when this haircut is that I have this week. Got to stay pretty, got to stay sharp. Not Wednesday, Thursday. Scheduled for Thursday, probably not going to fly. So here's what we're going to look for. Friday, we will likely do the stream for Saturday's games. 2 games on Saturday. So daily wager is going to be on Saturday morning and Sunday morning. And between doing that and coming home to do the stream before the first kickoff, there's not going to be enough time. 7 to 8, which would be 9, 10, 11. They'd be close. No, you want to be able to get the information beforehand. All right, so we're going to do Saturday's games on Friday. So the Friday is going to be the next stream. We'll probably think 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And then there might be, the Sunday stream should be on Saturday afternoon probably. Sometime in between the games, we might go live, talk about 2 games, and then bounce out. So keep an eye on the Twitter account. Like usual, the DMs are open. You can reach me anytime if you have questions with it. All right, so let's talk divisional round movement, then get into some picks for the championship game tonight. And then I had 2 NBA games, but one of them was in the Mavericks-Pelicans game, and that got postponed due to COVID. So that game's out. So just one NBA game tonight. Oh, you watched the MegaCast. Thank you, Chip. ESPN only got 1 playoff game, and it was that game. So they did a big MegaCast around it. They don't have another game this season, so there won't be a MegaCast for NFL. No. And I haven't heard of anything in the works, although I would love to see an NBA MegaCast. Essentially, what I would like is to see the Red Zone channel concept in the NFL merging with the MegaCast gambling content. And ESPN has, NBA rights. So maybe like once a week, maybe it's like a Wednesday, as all the NBA games are being played, you're watching, and the TV is just flipping around all the different games like Red Zone as like the first quarter's ending, the first half's ending, things like that when the point spread's in doubt. And then there's a group of analysts sitting there talking about the in-game wagering, the props, all that stuff. That's what we'd like to do. Just go do our own MegaCast. It's a pretty big technical undertaking, but I'll keep it in mind. As you can tell, the MegaCast setup versus this setup, a little bit different from a technical standpoint. Any basketball shows with your YouTube channel after football, talk to OddsShark. I work with OddsShark during football season. I wasn't planning on doing anything, but they're at OddsShark on Twitter. Let them know. Tell them you want to see some stuff with the NBA. I'd be happy to continue doing this. Definitely want to talk hoops. Definitely want to do some stuff for March Madness too. Maybe even golf. We'll see. All right. So divisional round openers. Here we go in chronological order. The Saturday early game opened Green Bay -7 against the Rams. Total of 46.5. I want to bring this up. I put these notes in about 30 minutes ago, but I'm hoping I don't miss any movements. That has moved a little bit to the under. So it's still 7. My prediction on where that's going to go, I think the public's going to want to get involved in the Packers. Packers have been explosive. Packers score a lot of points. Great quarterback, number 1 seed, rested at home against a team with shaky quarterback play. Question is whether or not the Rams defense can do enough to keep this game close. Remember, Donald and a bunch of guys got banged up in that game. Green Bay looks like a wonderful teaser option. Obviously, by now you don't need me to tell you that. And then at the same time, how much do you weight this bye week? I think it's huge. I would be looking to Green Bay. I think the public's going to get involved in Green Bay. The question is whether or not the pros like the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up ticking down to 6.5. A lot of points against a good Aaron Donald-led defense. And if Jalen Ramsey is able to limit Devontae Adams a little bit, we're talking about a 1-score game. And 7 points in your pocket could be huge. So that's where I would kind of lean as to where that goes. I know the public's going to like the Packers. Total came down a little bit from 46.5 to 46. Interesting. No thoughts on that as of now. Game number 2. Oh, I feel bad for the Bills getting Baltimore in this game. Pittsburgh would have been so much better, but this is how it's going to work. Buffalo in the evening, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. They're hosting Baltimore Saturday night. Open Buffalo -2.5. Total of 49.5. Haven't seen any movement. Maybe at some books it's gone up to 50, so a little on the over. I lean to the over here, pending the weather, of course. I think that if Lamar Jackson's going to run, Buffalo struggles defending the run a little bit. I think Baltimore now, the monkey's off the back. Tennessee was a very familiar opponent that they had played a few times. That was their 3rd game against Tennessee in the last calendar year. This is a little bit different. I think Baltimore's going to be able to get their points. It's not going to be as much of a grind scoring against Buffalo. We did see what happened with Tennessee or Indianapolis. Indianapolis was moving at will in that game, at will. They left a lot of points on the table. Then, meanwhile, how great's Baltimore's defense going to be, right? They just put it all on the table. Everything was on the table to get past Tennessee. Shut down Derrick Henry. They were incredible. Does that come in 2 weeks in a row? I don't know. I think Baltimore can win. I think Buffalo can win. I don't have a feeling on the side right now. If it was at the full 3, I'm probably leaning Baltimore at 2.5. I feel like I'm being trapped into taking Buffalo. So I like the over there as of right now. So that's where we stand on that game. Game number 3, which will be Sunday morning for us here in the Pacific time zone. Kansas City opened as a 9.5-point favorite over Cleveland with a total of 54. This one's seen the most movement. It went from 9.5 immediately to 10, which is a relatively key number. And some places have moved through 10 to 10.5. I think maybe people will get involved. Maybe the sharper side gets involved in Cleveland later in the week at 10.5 or better. I don't know if they're going to be all that excited about it. Cleveland's defense is leaky. Kansas City's defense is leaky. The total went up in this game from 54 to 55.5. Some places are at 56. The over is going to be something I'm definitely on in that game. I think Kansas City is going to hang their points no problem, right? Weather pending, of course, but I think they're going to hang their points no problem against this Cleveland defense. Cleveland should be able to get theirs as well in this game. They're going to come in a little ragtag, but they fight, man. That team fights. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I went on this rant at the beginning of the broadcast here and talked about how Pittsburgh just didn't even bother showing up. That's bullshit. That's me taking away from Cleveland showing up and getting the job done in that game. That's not the right way to do it. I hate the fact that a lot of times when these games happen, the first thing we do is we blame the loser rather than credit the winner, right? Like I think Baltimore got credit for their win over Tennessee, but immediately it's like Vrabel blew it with that decision to punt. And then the same thing with the Bills and the Colts. As soon as it was over, Colts left too many points on the table. Colts screwed that game up. They can be good games. These can be good games where one team is just a little bit better than the other, and we can acknowledge that. The Bears' defense was good yesterday. The Bears' offense is terrible. This idea of bringing back Trubisky is just nonsense. You look at his numbers at the end, it's like, well, they're not horrible. Yeah, that touchdown's a glamour touchdown. It's the final play of the game. They needed that touchdown earlier. They don't need it on the last play of the game when the game's over. Like, that's what they need. They don't need the 1 TD, no INTs, 248 yards. Everything's a damn check down. Got to make some plays. Everyone's got to make some plays there. All right, so, yeah, I mean, maybe Kansas City's going to be a popular tease. It's not the smartest tease to go from 10 to 4, but I don't know. I mean, we've been told this is what we've all been saying with Kansas City. You know, they're just bored. They're waiting for the playoffs. What do we say about Pittsburgh? You know, they're just tired. They'll be ready for the playoffs with that bye week. Now, all of a sudden, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't doubt what our eyes see. Maybe is there something wrong with Kansas City? I don't know. They probably get the benefit of the doubt because even though they didn't look as great down the stretch, they still were winning every single game. Week 17 doesn't count. Final game, Tampa and New Orleans. Brady versus Breeze. Here we go. Opened New Orleans 4, 49.5. Immediately got bet down to New Orleans -3 and is up to 52. So that's what you're seeing. Early money comes in on Tampa Bay. Early money comes in on the over. Tampa gets an extra day of rest to get ready for this game. I don't know if that's a huge advantage. The one thing I find myself thinking with this game sitting 3, where would it be more likely to go? Where's the public want to get involved? They watched Tampa look very good against Washington, although the defense didn't look good. And then there's New Orleans. Public loved them against the Bears. They got rewarded for that. And then at the same time, these two have met twice this year, and neither game was close. The Saints throttled Tampa Bay in that second game, 38-3. That first game looks close. Saints were up 24-7 in that game. Neither one of those was close. I don't know why I'm going to believe all of a sudden Tampa Bay has turned it around, right? Like they've won a bunch of games down the stretch, but how many games have they won the big games this year? Let's go through it real quick, and then we'll jump into college football. So they played the Saints to open the season and lost that game. They beat Carolina, Denver, and the Chargers, 3 teams that don't matter at all. They lost to the Bears on that Thursday night game. Some guys were dinged up, but again, that's a playoff team. They beat the Packers, huge win there. They beat the Raiders and the Giants. No, that doesn't matter. They lose to the Saints again. Carolina doesn't matter. They played the Rams and the Chiefs back-to-back, 2 good teams. They lose both those games. Then they beat Minnesota, Atlanta, Detroit, Atlanta, and Washington. That Green Bay win looks good. And yes, Washington was a playoff team, but I wonder about that, right? This is a big step up in class. It was a big step up in class for Chicago. We talked about that last week. Betting the under because Chicago wasn't going to score anything. One of the few things we got right. All right, so that's that. So we'll go over more of that later in the week. Next stream is probably going to be Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll lock in on that. We'll talk about Saturday's games, and then at some point Saturday, I'm going to jump on and get ready for Sunday's games. All right, so tonight it's Alabama and Ohio State for the national championship, 12-0 versus 7-0. Weather's not going to be a concern. This game is in Miami Gardens. It's where the Dolphins play. They've got that like tent roof in case it rains, but it's not calling for rain. 70 degrees, 5% chance of precipitation, low winds, 3 to 5 mile an hour. Nothing to worry about there, really. Really wish I was at this game. For some reason, I just had the hankering to be in South Florida here in January. I was there last year for the Super Bowl week leading up. It'd be nice to be there right now. Can't do that stuff, really. All right, that's number one. Number two, it gets interesting when we start talking about line movements because the books are all over the place here with this game. Depending on where you looked, this game opened Alabama as a 7 or a 7.5 point favorite. Then I believe FanDuel had it up all the way at like -9, right? So that was kind of your range with most places around 7.5. Bama money came in and has since pushed this up to either 8, which is what you can get at the Westgate right now here in Vegas, or 8.5 to 9. I don't see any 10s anywhere. I don't see any 7.5s or 7s. It's all between 8 and 9.5 right now. Bama is the favorite. The total opened around 76.5, 77. It's down to 75, pretty much uniform across the board. There's a 74.5 I see. And in fact, I actually saw a 74 not too long ago. So it's been Bama money and it's been under money. That's where we've been so far. This is not like the NFL where you get very detailed and accurate injury reports. They just keep this stuff covered up. So this is a difficult game to cap. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some key movement. Well, the injuries are difficult to cap. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some key movement here as we got closer to kickoff, as some more becomes known. Justin Fields, quarterback Ohio State, for example. What's his condition? He took some big shots and got busted up pretty badly in that Clemson game. Played fantastic in it. 6 TDs, was incredible. Does he have broken ribs, punctured lung? What's the severity of it? That information never got out. No one has any idea. Everyone thinks, well, you got 10 days to get ready for this game or whatever it is. That'll help with the healing. I don't know. We have no idea, right? In addition, there are rumors, and I'm going to stress rumors, that there's been a COVID issue with the Ohio State team. Like a lot of guys are listed as questionable for this game. You don't know what's going on. 2 names that stand out, Tommy Togiai and Tyreek Smith. Togiai plays defensive tackle for Ohio State. Tyreek Smith plays defensive end. Very important players. There's a rumor floating around that they might be out due to COVID protocol or positive COVID tests. Again, rumors. But that situation sets up nicely for Najee Harris, the running back at Alabama. More on that coming in just a bit. So with Bama, the starting center's out for this game. Damn, I had that name written down. So Landon Dickerson. I should have known that by now. Landon Dickerson. He suffered the injury against Florida in the SEC championship game. Knee injury, was carted off. Didn't play against Notre Dame. Alabama made some adjustments. They moved, I think it was an offensive tackle in the play center, and then they ran their offense a little bit differently. Had plenty of success. That's something to keep an eye on, though. He's out for this game. Jalen Waddle, the all-world wide receiver, he might play tonight. Thought process is if he goes, he's not going to be 100%. He could be out there as a decoy. He could be out there to run fly routes, and that's it. Who knows? But, that's something everyone's keeping an eye on as well. So it gets tougher with college football as everyone keeps this stuff close to the vest. What's the condition of Fields? What is the condition of Jalen Waddle? Now their guy's probably 100%. And then the COVID situation with Ohio State. How bad is it? Are Tyreek Smith and Tommy Togiai, are they going to be out for this game? Don't know. So keep your eye on that throughout the day. You don't have to bet it now if you don't want to. You can wait, but this stuff will move. Here's what I'm going to end up playing in this game. I'm going to start with the Alabama team total over 41.5. I just like Bama to score a ton of points here. I don't think Ohio State's secondary is going to be up to the task of limiting what Alabama can throw at them offensively, right? You're trying to game plan for Devontae Smith, wide receivers, John Meacham, these wide receivers that are all over the place, tight ends that can make plays. Najee Harris out of the backfield. They move at a quick pace. They can get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Like, that's the thing. Some of these teams have these star players. They just can't get the ball to them in some of these games. Bama will find ways. Bubble screens, reverses, all that stuff. Devontae Smith will get the ball. Ohio State's not locking him down. He might not have a monster game, but they're going to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. They're going to scheme all of that. I think they're going to put their points up. The question is whether or not this is going to be a game where Bama scores 45 and Ohio State scores 40, or Bama scores 45 and Ohio State scores 30. That's the difference there. So play number one, Bama over 41.5. Play number 2, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not getting any value on this. All right, I'm playing it because I like it. I've told you before, I'm not a professional gambler. I follow the stuff. I like the stuff. I like to bet, and I like to talk about it, right? That's that. Bama minus 5.5 in the first half. I love making this bet. I bet it all the time. It's done wonders for me and anyone else who's been tailing it. Bama ranked number 2 in college football this year in first half scoring, 29 points per game. They outscored their 12 opponents by 19 points per game in the first half. We played this against Notre Dame. It covered. We played this on the stream against Florida. It covered. We do it all the time, right? Almost all the time. Not every game, but it's been going on for a few years. This has been a great bet. Now, Bama's only laying 8.5, but 5.5 in the first half. That's the books telling you they know. They're not just chopping that spread down the middle and dividing it up between two halves. They know Bama's a juggernaut in the first half. They know people like me want to bet it. So they're gonna raise it and take advantage of that onslaught that they know that's coming. And like I said, there's no value here. You're not getting in it. You're not having an advantage. I just like making this bet. I know Alabama's going to come to play tonight. The big question is whether or not Ohio State comes to play. Bama minus 5.5, first half, play number 2. Number 3, I'm going to play the over at 74.5. I'm going to root for scoring here again. I don't have any real insight into why this is value or not. I think it's college football. Clock stops more often. Bama flies up and down the field. They can score from anywhere at any time. Ohio State, if they're on tonight, they can do a hell of a lot of scoring as well, which we saw against Clemson. If they're not on tonight, they're going to be playing catch-up with a lot of talent, throwing the ball all over the yard. And if Bama has a big lead, you're going to be able to let these guys back into it. Remember that Florida game, right? Remember that Florida game. Gators kept coming and scoring points. So that is boost option to get over 69 at plus 100. Over 69 what? Alabama points? Or are you guys talking about yards? I might be popping in at the wrong time on the stream. All right, so 74.5 over for the game is what we're going to play. Is play number 3. 2 bets regarding Najee Harris. I think he's going to have a big night. I couldn't find MVP odds. I'd consider playing those as well. Harris over 110.5 rushing yards. Again, if Ohio State is down, those 2 players, Tommy Togiai and Tyreek Smith, because of COVID, again, it's just rumors, that depletes the Ohio State defensive line. That gives Alabama the chance to run wild. Harris is going to get yards one way or another. The question is whether or not he's at a huge advantage here. I like him over 110.5 rushing yards. I also like his total yards, rushing plus receiving, over 149.5. I think he's going to have a big game tonight. Look, Ohio State's coming in this game. They got a game plan for the Heisman Trophy winning receiver in Devontae Smith. They got to be ready for that. You're not coming out there stacking 8 in the box. Alabama will kill you. So you're going to be a nickel and dime, and that's going to be opportunity for Harris to beat you underneath, especially if some of those D linemen are out. So those are the 5 plays for the championship game. Bama team total over 41.5. Bama minus 5.5 first half. Total of the game over 74.5. Najee Harris over 110.5 rush yards. Najee Harris over 149.5 total yards, rushing plus receiving. One NBA game for tonight because Dallas, New Orleans got postponed. I was going to play the over. Memphis, Cleveland under. You're not going to want to watch this game. Let me make that clear. You're just going to want to track the score. And even then, I'm going to play under 206.5. I want to make sure that number is readily available. 206, yeah, 206.5. The notes. Both teams have terrible offenses. This season. Both move at a slow pace. Cleveland's actually first in defensive rating this year. That's not going to hold up. But Memphis is a top defensive team, too, in terms of rating. They don't move fast. They don't score a lot. They don't give up a lot of points. They play at slow tempos. I'm not going to go into a whole lot more than that. I just like the game under. This feels like 101, 96, 98, 94, something like that. That's what we're hoping for. Maybe someone gets hot. Who knows? But I don't see it happening. So that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you for coming. As always, you guys are the freaking best. Thanks for the support. Fade 'em. Picks have been bad. Fade 'em. Have fun tonight. Enjoy the national championship game. We're back Friday. Keep an eye on Twitter. I'll announce when, but I'm aiming for Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll do the Saturday games, and then on Saturday, we'll pop in and do the Sunday games. Or maybe I'll just combine them all on Friday and then do another one on Saturday. Something like that. But the DMs are always open if you have any questions. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you on Friday.